Hey guys, this is Poet, and I'm here to do a color along and fast forward. Hanna from jojoza Hanna here on YouTube, and I are doing this page from Circle of Life. And so I had previously used some Derwent ink tints that she had gotten me for a present. I was like, oh my gosh. So I went ahead and filled in the background, and then I decided that tonight I was going to go ahead and work on doing some more pieces. So for a birthday present, she sent me Neocolor IIs. I was like, oh my gosh. So I decided that I wanted to try them out, and I was in a blue mood, so we went with blue. Now, as you can see, I have a ton of stuff on my desk, so it's always a hot mess trying to get everything in here. But I wanted to try the color out. I haven't swatched these yet, so I just used that little test piece there on the side. And so now I'm taking one of the darker blues. I can't remember what color it was. I should have paid attention. And I'm just going through and adding that all the way around these areas. And I liked how it came out as far as the darker tone against the lighter aqua tones. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm not fully coloring in everything because while I was playing with these, I realized that these move really well. So you don't need as much, and you definitely don't need a heavy hand, which is kind of difficult for me sometimes because I'm heavy-handed with everything. But I am going around, and you'll notice it's very sketchy. It's not completely filled in. And where I want the color darkest is pretty much where I put the crayon. Now here comes the tedious part. The waves at the top of the whale were fine. Coloring in the other whales were fine. But then using these small areas and getting the detail around, that was where I was a little more, I don't want to say difficult because it really wasn't. And I know for some people this would drive them nuts because of all the small spaces. Additionally, it's a crayon, so it doesn't come to a fine point like a color pencil would or a marker. So that could be a little bit of an issue for some people. But believe it or not, and I think I've said this in other videos before, believe it or not, all the little teeny tiny details, I like those. I find them relaxing. So going around and coloring over, around the little spaces doesn't really bother me. The only time it actually bothers me is like when I want something to be done and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tired of doing this. But otherwise, it's just perfectly fine. So it is relaxing to me. And then to turn around and go back and, go back and activate it all. Going in those little spots, I just find it extremely relaxing. So I'm like, okay. Now, I know this is going to sound so funny, and I've talked about it before in other videos. Like for some people, like I said, this would drive them nuts trying to get this color in all these little places and so forth and so on. What drives me nuts is trying to get color and make it look good in those giant spaces. So for example, chibis, you know how you have the chibis and they have those big old heads, okay? Or like so say like a Mariella, is that how you say her name? A Mariella Budek, I believe that's how you say her name, or Mariella. Her pictures are gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. They are gorgeous. And I would have so much fun working on the hair and little details like that. But when it comes to, half the picture is a face, I'm like, oh, this is annoying. I find it stressful. These little details, not stressful. But a big old face, I'm like, oh my gosh. Are we done? No, we're only on the cheek. All right, now I'm going back with a second crayon. And this one's black. And because it's going to be such a strong color, I'm not putting very much of it in places. But where I want it to be a little darker, I'm just putting like a little bit of the black so that when I go back and activate this with water, you'll have the two colors that mix together. So you can see how little I'm actually putting here. And then I actually should have put a little less once I start getting the water on it. But anyway, yeah. So like a big old chibi head or one of these big old portraits where it's like face. I'm like, okay, how about I just do the flowers and the hair and we'll just leave the face blank. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now it is time to activate this with water. And I'm just using one of my cheapo water brushes. Now, I will say this. At first, I always have too much water to begin with. And then I just kind of wipe it off. All right, lovelies. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this here. I'm going to put on a little bit of music. And then you can go ahead and see this detail painting, so forth. All right, thanks for watching. Leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you like. And if you'd like to do a buddy color, you can let me know that as well. All right, bye.